You are either going to walk out of Cloud Atlas Live, or there's no way in the world I'm going to be able to explain what Cloud Atlas is about without this video being 30 minutes long. It's just not going to happen. So I'm sorry, you guys, that I'm not going to explain it. But what I am going to say is that it's based off of a book by David Mitchell, and that it does tell like 6 different stories spanning over 6 different ages. And you sit there and you try to connect the dots and, you know, figure out what's going on. Cloud Atlas is one of the biggest, most grandest, and ambitious films I have ever seen in my entire life. I mean, the magnitude, the scope of this film is so enormous, and it's jaw-dropping. Even if you do not like this film, you guys, you cannot deny the fact of what is going on and how ambiguous that this film is. Cloud Atlas also offers a huge cast of Tom Hanks, Halle Berry, Hugh Grant, Hugo Weaving, Susan Sarandon, Jim Broadbent. The list just goes on and on. Jim Strugus. The list just goes on and on and on. The cast is enormous in here, and what's also interesting about the cast is each of the cast is not only, but they're playing different roles of different genders, of different ethnicities in this film, and it's really cool because you don't really notice what character's playing which for most of the part until the credits. Cloud Atlas is directed by the Wachowskis, who gave us the Matrix trilogy and that Speed Racer movie that I will forgive them for after seeing this film. It's also directed by Tom, whose last name I honestly cannot say because I don't know how to pronounce it. He did Run Lola Run, and I have to applaud them because I think if anyone else had this material, not only would it have been a giant flop, but they would have decided to tell the stories like a normal film would have done. It would have told each story together, and we would have been trying to, in our mind, trying to connect each story. Like, okay, what does this story have to do with the previous story? No, what they did is they jumbled them all up. Take all the pieces, jumble them all up, and you're playing with your mind. It's like a mind game of confusion. But I'm telling you guys, if you sit through this 3-hour epic journey, by the end of this film, you will get hit with a roller coaster of emotions. For a 3-hour-long epic film, this film is never boring. This is like the fastest 3-hour film I've ever sat through. I never once checked my time. Matter of fact, when this film was over, I felt like I literally watched like an hour-and-a-half long film. The editing in this film is phenomenal, and it deserves Oscar nominations, including the score. I have been listening to the score ever since I walked out of the theater. It's so emotional and just impactful, and it really helps. I really love the score to this film. I think this film deserves Oscar nominations. It's easily my favorite film of the year. And I mean, I know there's still a lot of films to come out, but they've got serious competitions if they're going to try to beat this film for me. And I know people are not going to agree with me. They're not going to agree with me, and that's okay. This is one of those films, if you tell me you did not like this film, I am not going to hate you for it, okay? It's just not like a club that you have to be in. Oh, I only talk to people who love Cloud Atlas. No. If you don't like Cloud Atlas, I understand. This film is way big. It's very confusing. It's hard to follow. It's a mind game. You cannot watch this film without thinking. If you're going to see this film, come with your thinking caps on, because if you leave them at home, you're not going to like this film. What I'm going to say next may be the biggest and boldest statement that I may say throughout this review, and that is I think Cloud Atlas is a 2001 A Space Odyssey for the new millennium, and I don't think people will agree with that statement until a couple of decades from now, or maybe 10 years from now. People will agree with me, just one decade. I think people will agree with me that this is the new 2001 A Space Odyssey, and if you're watching this 10 years from now, do you agree with me? Am I right? I hope so, because that's how I feel about this film. I haven't watched a film so ambiguous and so light years ahead of its time since 2001. And that's saying a big statement. There's just so much going on in this film, you guys. It's so crazy. And I think the fact that there's so much going on in this fight is what's going to divide audiences. Now, it probably comes to no surprise of what I'm going to give this film. This film is flawless. It's perfect. It's my favorite film of the year. So therefore, of course, it's going to get a perfect score of 5 out of 5 for me. Now, I want to talk about something on the other note. I'm actually going to be a part of a film awards show called the LXR Film Awards. And I really want you guys to be a part of it. So down below, you will find links to where you can actually go and vote and all that jazz. And if you want to be a part of it, like when it's coming and stuff like that, subscribe. I'm going to remind you guys like almost a lot, so definitely subscribe, comment, let me know, and I will keep you informed. But definitely at least vote. I mean, it takes like 3 seconds. I mean, vote for the films. I'm going to be a part of it, so I hope you guys come out and check me out. I'm going to let you guys know more, but yeah, down below you will find all the stuff you need to know. So yeah. So without further ado, I'm the Slasher Movie Reviewer, and I hope you go check out Cloud Atlas. Check it out. And until next time, you guys just been slashed.